Hello, everyone. My name is Melissa Anderson, and I'm an audiologist at the Children's Cochlear Implant Center at UNC. Today, I'm going to be talking about teleaudiology. Given everything that is going on in the world these days, the need for teleaudiology has never been greater. But the question is, what teleaudiology services can we provide while the patient is at home? There are a few barriers to this. The first is the sound booth. Most people do not have sound booths in their homes. So any audiometric testing or anything you would regularly use a sound booth for is not going to be able to be provided to your patient while they're at their house. The next thing is programming equipment. When you're looking at programming cochlear implants or hearing aids with the patient in your office, there's typically something connecting that device to your computer, whether it's a programming pod and cable, whether it's a NOAA link, whether it's a Hybro box. There's something connecting it in, and the families aren't going to have this at home. The final thing is software. The programming software has to be on the computer where the patient is, not just the clinician computer. So just because that programming software is on your computer, if you do a web chat, you are not able to program the patient's device. So what can we do while the patient is at home, without any kind of extra equipment? The first is guided troubleshooting. Some families are, nervous about troubleshooting. They're unsure about it. They may not have much experience doing it. So you can kind of help them, kind of walk them through that process. In cochlear implants, a lot of times it's the cable. So, okay, take that backup cable. This is how you change it, or take the cable from the left ear and put it on the right ear. You can kind of walk them through what you would do at the office. You can help them, walk them through changing hearing aid tubing, doing listening checks of the devices, changing the microphone covers. Maybe they'll hold it up to the video and you'll, can obviously see that, the battery door is broken or something. So you can kind of help them with that next step. A lot of times the family concerns is that the child doesn't have access to sound. Maybe they're not hearing as well. You can help reassure the family by having them complete a ling check or some form of functional listening check. Families may not be used to doing that, and so you can show them how to do it, and then you can also watch to see, how is that child reacting, and reassure the family that yes, they're hearing. Another thing we can do is counseling. You can talk to families about hearing loss or devices. Give them that kind of information, that might help them during this time. The final thing is patient rapport. I feel like this gets underestimated a lot, but is really important. At the Children's Cochlear Implant Center, we typically see patients once every 6 months, and we may have been doing this for the past decade. It can be hard for families when they no longer kind of have that interaction with you on such a regular basis. So one of the things you can do is do a web chat with these families, just kind of check in, see how things are going, and just be a source of support for them. So at the Children's Cochlear Implant Center, we've been kind of running two teleaudiology programs over the past few years. The first is a teleaudiology tablet system. So we have a tablet, it has to be Windows-based, that has the cochlear implant software on it. And we send this out in a kit with the programming pods or cables that specific child or children need to another professional. So someone working in the schools, an early interventionist. And then in a couple cases, we've sent it directly to the patient home. And we log on to a secure web chat with whoever is kind of running the tablet, whether it's a professional or a parent, and walk them through how to connect the processor into this tablet that has the software on it. And we can remotely program. So we can use this to do impedance checks. We can use it to, just kind of do some general adjustments, make it louder, make it softer, or to complete a full mapping, especially if the person on the other end is able to kind of help out with this. This would potentially be feasible to complete in the patient's home if you are able to get the equipment. So if you're able to get a tablet, get the software put on it, and then have some extra programming equipment that you would feel comfortable mailing out, you can have this kind of kit sent to your patient, walk them through that process through the web chat, complete the programming, and have them send it back. This obviously is not going to be feasible to do with every patient on your caseload, but you could do it for those patients who are in more emergent situations. The second teleaudiology program that we've been running is actually a partnership program between us and other audiology practices. And our goal was to provide services more locally. Patients come to us from several hours away. So we're trying to find a way that they wouldn't have to drive as far to get those services that they need. So for this, booth testing is completed by the remote site, and then programming is completed by the clinician at the Children's Cochlear Implant Center via a secure web chat. This type of program is not feasible right now. Pretty much all clinics have either shut down or only seeing a very limited patient base. So a partnership program like that is not going to provide us those services that we need at this time. So for counseling via telehealth, there are a few things you can do to make it kind of go easier. The first is to have visual resources available. You can create a PowerPoint, a PDF, or some other file on your computer and share your screen during the web chat so the families can see what you're talking about. So, if you're talking about types of hearing loss, maybe you have an audiogram up or a picture of the ear. If you're talking about devices, you can have pictures of the devices on there. At the Children's Cochlear Implant Center, we are currently using this for the counseling that would typically take place during a cochlear implant evaluation. We're not able to have patients come into our clinic right now for a full evaluation or move forward towards surgery. But we don't want to, lose touch with these patients. We want to, kind of make sure we're still on their radar and they're still on our radar. So this is the way we've come up with to do this. So the family logs onto a web chat with us. We share our screen that has a PowerPoint describing hearing loss and cochlear implants, things like that, and kind of walk through that typical counseling with them. You can also use props, and this is mostly to help with device maintenance and troubleshooting type tasks. And what I mean by props is to actually have demos of all the devices on hand. So you can show the family, this is how you change the cable. This is how you change the microphone protectors. This is how you change a battery, things like that. This obviously requires you to have some equipment either at your house or in your office, wherever you're doing these teleaudiology sessions, but it can be really beneficial to patients to actually be able to see you do the tasks that you're asking them to do. Billing is always a big question. More and more insurance payers right now are starting to have codes or modifiers for telehealth. A lot of the services that I've been talking about thus far are services that may be non-billable in the clinic. So if a patient comes in and you change their microphone covers or you show them how to switch a cable, that's not something that you can bill for right now in audiology. If you are doing tasks like programming through a tablet program or something like that, you are able to bill the typical codes that you would bill for that service in the clinic. ASHA has also released some new guidelines for digital evaluation, and I've copied information from their page onto this slide talking more about that. And these are new starting this year. So more and more codes and things are coming out for billing. I would encourage you to either talk to your billing staff or to contact insurance companies for more information. This was just a brief summary of some of the things we've tried. If you have any questions about what we've done or need any further information, please don't hesitate to reach out by email, which is here on the screen. I hope you all are doing well and are staying healthy.